Hey guys, today we're going to be working on putting an apex overland recovery point on our 4Runner. I'll show you whenever we get to the truck on why you want to install one of these instead of using the factory tie downs that are in the front of the vehicle. So anyways, these recovery points are made in the USA. They come with a nice package. Got a little readout card, comes with an apex sticker, your bolts, they're all going to be grade 8 bolts, which are super high strength, that can handle the forces that you may inflict on your vehicle pulling on it. These come powder coated, super thick steel, really nice. And so you have one for each side. Got a little bit of splatter on them from welding, but not a deal breaker for me. It's going to be underneath the vehicle, but overall it looks really nice. Okay, for the installation, you're going to need a 10 millimeter, 12 millimeter, 13, 14, 17, and 19 millimeter sockets. You need a flathead screwdriver, 3/8 ratchet if you're using 3/8 sockets, and then a torque wrench for the final torques once the installation is done. Like I said on the tabletop, these loops, there's one on each side. These are basically for tie down if it's being towed or something. Worst case scenario, if you ever need to use these for recovery, you know, if you don't have anything else, you can use it, but it's not meant for recovery. This is just meant for tying down, you know, to a trailer or so. Basically, what these recovery points do is they fit up into here, and then it gives you a point to either put shackles or a soft shackle or run a rope through or chain or something. And so that basically gives you your best case scenario to be able to either pull yourself out or pull somebody else out of the jam. So on each side, we're going to remove these stickers. Whenever we get to this point, we still have to pull off the bottom part. But also there's a little overwelds here. If you have those on your vehicle, you'll want to smooth those out with either a file or grinding disc or something. I'll show you. I've got them on my vehicle, so we're going to have to remove them. I'll show us removing them. We are going to remove this plastic shield here. I think it's an air dam. Mine's missing one bolt here in the front. I'm not sure where that went. So we're going to remove these 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then this plastic plug right here, you want to remove that first. Okay. This part you pull out, and it's just a 2-piece. So you set that aside. Now these are 10 millimeter bolts. We're going to take out these 4. All right, now that that's out, just let it slide down and you can set it aside. Next, we're going to remove our factory skid plate. These have little hooks in the front that keeps it aligned whenever you reinstall it. And so this will swing down. So you'll want to remove your front bolts first. And I happen to be missing one, so we only have to do one. in the front, and this is a 12 millimeter. Like I said, I'm missing one. I'm not sure if it was from the dealership or if it just bounced out over time. And I'm missing one in the front. And I'm also missing one in the back hole. So if you've already moved your third bolt and you're over to your last one, just hold up. And then just let this gently lay down. Okay. So these two front clips are holding it in. Like I said, you can just lean it down and then keep it at like a 45, and then you can just slide it out. Here's the two clips. You can see they've got hooks on them. And then now you can discard it. Okay, guys, like I said before, these areas right here with the welds are sticking out. This is only on the driver's side, and my passenger side is smooth. But since our recovery point is going to go flat onto this part and to here, we're just going to knock that kind of smooth. Like I said, you can use a regular file. It'll take a little bit of while, but you can do it. Or you can use a grinding disc, anything that you have. I'm going to go ahead and use this. If you're going to use a spinning tool that's going to throw metal dust in the air shavings and stuff, make sure you wear safety glasses, have goggles on, and just try and be safe. So. All right, that one's flat. And then we're just going to knock this one down just a little bit. And this one is up by your body mount. So it's pretty flat. I'm going to smooth it down just a little bit more. Okay. So now that both of those are down, you've got exposed metal, which is terrible for steel, obviously, because of rust. So anytime I do any kind of painting, I always get some alcohol and then just clean off the part. Once it dries, you can either hit it with a just a black spray paint. A rust eliminator works good, or rust tough, or anything that's anti-corrosion. It gets a little messy, but you can do it for sure. On little parts, I like to just use a paint pen marker. It keeps it off of everything else, and it works just as good. And what you're doing is just a little bit of extra corrosion protection. I'll do it up here. All right. Now that we've got the extra welds taken care of, we're just get you can use your screwdriver, but it may scrape your paint. But you want to remove this little taped hole. That's going to reveal your big nut plate in here. This is for your size 19 bolt. Okay, so whenever you've got a threaded insert that hasn't been used before, that doesn't have a bolt in it already, then you want to go ahead and thread your bolts in to make sure that the threads are clean. Now, just a couple, not even a full turn in, it's kind of tight. So I just want to check it to make sure that it's pretty loose and not giving me any problems. Once you feel like you're hitting a wall, if you do, then you know that the threads aren't clean, and you'll need to chase them with your tap. Okay. This one seems okay. So I'll go ahead and run this off. And the bolt doesn't show any signs of wear that there's anything in the threads. Okay, same story on this side. We're going to want to check the threads. That's pretty snug as well. All right, that's definitely feels like there's something in the threads. So before you get anything bound up inside or locked up or cross-threaded, looks like there's somewhere here. So we're going to go ahead and grab a tap and then just clean those threads out so that we have no problems going in with the bolt. Hey guys, so today is a different day. We tried to do the install the other night. Whenever we went to thread this bolt into the side to check the threads in the actual vehicle, it was either caught up with paint or dirt or grime or something. And so I went to my tap and die set, and I didn't have the right tap or die, because this is a very fine thread as far as the threads being close together. If you look on this is the same diameter. This is the same diameter tap, but as you can see, the threads are way bigger as far as like the distance between them. So we had to order a new tap on Amazon, and I went ahead and bought a die just in case, but these bolts look okay. And as you see, whenever you line these up, they're a perfect match. That's one way to tell if you've already got, the tools. If you don't have the tools, what you want to look for, this is called a thread gauge, thread pitch gauge, thread gauge, and it will have the corresponding numbers for the threads per millimeter. So whenever I pull my thread gauge out, normally a bolt this big would probably be a 1.5 if it's a fine thread. But whenever you set these down in here, you can see that it's still too wide. And so that's how I knew that I needed to order a 125 whenever you pull that thread gauge, and it fits down in there perfectly. So that's whenever you see something that says 12 by 125 as far as in the metric, the 12 is going to be this diameter or cross, and then the 125 will be the threads. So just this small distance here, it's like 1.25 thread here, and then the last number it'll generally say by 20 or 40 or something, and that'll be the length of the bolt, or maybe down to the shank. If you want to learn more about the tap and die set, you just let us know in the comments, and I can go more into depth on how these work. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and insert our tap into the threads. Just do it loose by hand. Make sure that it starts. Okay, you'll feel it start, and you'll feel it start to get kind of chunky, and that means that it's removing grime or anything that's in there, and then they will fall down in these channels. These are fluted. So like I said, at your house, most people have a little crescent wrench, and then you can just turn this down. Those threads are super sharp on the tap, so I'm gonna make it a little easier on myself and use an actual tap socket. Make it a little faster. It should be deep enough. All right, so now we can check with our bolt. Make sure it goes in nicely. Like I said, I don't know if this is a Toyota thing or just a 4Runner thing, but these super fine threads on a big bolt are not common. That's why we had to order a tap that wasn't in our set. But that feels good. No problems. Okay, so now we're going to remove the two sway bar bolts on the bracket, and then also this bolt that holds this bracket on for the cooler line. This is a 14 for the sway bar. Okay, so whenever you reinstall these, when they fall off, because they will, always put the one that has an open notch to the front. You have closed in the back and open in the front. Now we're going to go up here to it's a 12 millimeter socket. And then just kind of push that out of the way. Okay, this is where the bolt comes out.
I can't see that.
This is where the bolt comes out, and then you'll just want to make sure that that lifts up. that can be lifted up whenever you slide in your recovery plate. We're going to go ahead and move over to the driver's side. Okay. Same on this side. We're going to remove the 2 bolts for the sway bar and then the bolt for the cooler line bracket. And whenever these 2 bolts release, whichever side you do first, whenever you get to the last one, this will swing down just a little bit. So just allow it. And again, whenever you mount these, the open slot faces towards the bumper. Now we're going to do our cooler line bracket. And then just make sure that it can move. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get ready for the reassembly and installation of the actual part. I'm going to use a little anti-seize on our bolts just to make sure that in the future, if this ever needs to come back apart, that there's no issues. Also, we're going to be changing to our bigger sockets now. We're going to go to 13, 17, and 19. Obviously, for the size bolts. And then whenever you assemble your hardware, make sure that the lock washer is under the head of the bolt, and then your flat washer goes underneath. And not all washers are like this, but if you're ever wondered about washers, a lot of them have beveled edges and then a flat side. So anytime you do an installation onto a flat part, unless the instructions say different, always put the flat part towards what you're tightening onto. Okay, so we looked at that. I'm going to go ahead and put anti-seize on the 19 millimeter bolt. Just remember, a little bit goes a long way, so just a dab. And this will probably get on you like it does on me, but that's part of it. So I'll set that bolt aside. I'm going to go ahead and grab my bracket. I'm going to slide it up into the back where it's going to bolt in under your sway bar. Slide it up under your bracket for that line. And then you want to put this big bolt in first. And that's all you need to hold it in place. All right, just want to get that one started, and then we'll go ahead and get started on our sway bar bolts. You want to go ahead the anti-seize on there, and you want to start with the back one. Go ahead and push your sway bar up into place. It's going to be kind of wiggly. Put anti-seize on this front bolt for the sway bar. We'll go ahead and get it started. going to go ahead and repeat this process on the other side. Okay, now we're on the passenger side. We're going to go ahead and just repeat the process. Get up under that bracket. We've already put anti-seize on our bolts. Okay, so that's in there. That's not going to fall. Start this one up top. Okay, that one started. Now we're going to go ahead and start the ones for the sway bar. Okay, and then our front one. Okay. All right, so what we can do now is go ahead and snug down this bolt, and whenever you do this, you want to push this all the way as high as you can go whenever you snug it. Again, this is the 19. All right, it's just snugged in place. Now they do say that there's going to be a gap back here. Apex says that, so that's not going to be a problem. May look a little odd, but it's fine. I'm going to snug up the rear bolt on the sway bar. I just want to double check and make sure that this is in right. All right. So again, we're going to torque these afterwards, but we're just getting everything snugged up. Go ahead and do this top one. It's a 13. All right, so we'll go ahead and do the same thing on the other side, and then we'll come back around and do our final torques. Okay, guys, we are back on the driver's side. I want to make sure That's as far up as you can go with it. Hold it in place. All right. So go ahead into our rear bolt here. And then do our last bolt up top. Okay, and again, this is the 13. All right. Now we're going to grab our torque wrench and do our final torques. Okay, guys, last step is to do our final torques. The 19 millimeter bolt is 70 foot-pounds. Huh. Oh, it just broke it off. Okay, so obviously tomorrow I'll go get a grade 8 locking nut because that one just sheared right off. So that's not good. We'll see how these others go, and it may just be bad hardware from Apex. Okay, so these two bolts here on the sway bar are 40 pounds. So we'll just turn our torque wrench down to 40. To the 17 millimeter socket. This is 40 foot-pounds. You just want to go equally. Okay. It goes about at 40. And then our last one is at 18. And I'll put it right at 18. Okay. All right. So we're going to repeat the process on the passenger side. Okay guys, we got this set at 70 for this 19 millimeter up here. So we ran into issues with me not having enough bolts already. I think you should just leave this instead. That's a crazy amount of torque. 70, yeah. Okay guys, now that we've got our points installed, we're going to go ahead and put our skid plate back in. It's just going to reverse it from before. Like I said, install these two tabs into these two holes. And it'll just hang and get your bolt. All right, so we go ahead and get your bolt. Put the first one in the back and just swing this up. That's a 12 millimeter. And get that one started, and it'll hold in place. Now you'd want to put your other bolt, your other back bolt in here. Since I've only got two bolts, I'll go ahead and do it diagonally on the front until I can make it over to Toyota. To get replacement bolts. Like I said, you'll have four. You'll have one here, one here, one here, and one here. All right, next, get your plastic air dam. Kind of set it up in place. You want to go ahead and put your plastic in the middle first. I'll just hold it in place. Your 10 millimeter bolts. Get them started. Now remember, you'll have 5. I've got 4. Until I make it over to the dealership. And that's it. We've got our recovery points installed. Had a few little hiccups, but that's to be expected sometimes. Just the best thing to be able to do is just be able to overcome them and figure it out and learn some stuff along the way. So if you like this video, like it, share it with your buddy or something. Subscribe to our channel. We've got more Forerunner stuff coming up. We've got RAV4 stuff coming up. And we appreciate you guys watching, and subscribe if you'd like to see more content or go back and check out some of the other videos we've made so far. Thanks for watching.